They say everything happens for a reason. That reason causes change. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it hurts, but in the end, it's all for the best. At 16, Phenny Awiti had no idea that her love for food would change her life forever. The 26-year-old mother of two, currently living with HIV, is a bold woman and is not afraid of sharing her story so as to create awareness.
My name is Phenny Awiti. I'm 27 years old and a single mom of two beautiful girls. I was born in Nakuru, but raised in the village. My mom passed on when I was 10 years old, my dad when I was 5 years old. So immediately after my dad passed on, we actually went to the village for the first time when I was 5 years old. And then I remember my mom actually stole us, in quotes, me and my younger sister. In a family of 6, I'm the last born. So there's me and then there's another sister of mine. At least we were younger than the rest of us. So she took us from there and then we came all the way to Nairobi when I was about 7, 6 years old. And I remember we started staying in the slums of Mathare. So with time, I remember my sister, one of my brothers came and located us from where we were, and then he took us away. And at that time, my mom started falling sick, and then she was booked for an operation in Kisumu. That was around 2002 now. I remember my mom went to the theater in November, immediately after school, after we were done. Now it was the holidays. And she wrote some letters saying that I would love to see Phenny and her sister when I'm done, when I'm from the theater. Yeah. So she didn't make it after that. She passed on. And then now after that, life had to go on. And I had a very, very supportive uncle that actually stepped in fully to support us. It was so incredible. I can't lie to you that I had issues with the fees. I didn't at all. We actually forgot that we had lost parents. Well, so during this time, I would be sickly on and off, but then just like any other person, any other children get sick, right? So I thought, okay, maybe I'm just like any other child, yeah. So I remember in class 6, I was booked for an operation. The hernia was, I had issues with my appendix, so I went for the hernia. And after that, I kept on being sick. Mumps, rashes, wrinkles, you name it. At some point, I had tuberculosis. I was on the medication for 6 months. Still, I knew I'm just a normal kid, because furthermore, I'm in the village, even if it's a boarding school, yeah. So after primary, I went to high school. I remember I was called in Koru Girls, but then my uncle was so supportive that he said, you know what, I want you to go to the best school. But now in Form 1, I was doing so well in school, and I was still sick. I would have boils on and off frequently. The boobs, the armpit, in very, very weird areas of the body. Yeah. So Form 2 first term, this organization wanted us to donate blood, and then you're given soda and biscuits. I'm like, wow, soda and biscuit for only donating my blood. It's not a big deal, So I went and donated the blood. And I qualified. I had, now when you qualify, you're like on another level. You've made it in this life because your kgs is over 50 kgs. You feel like you're so healthy and all that. So I was so fortunate to be given that soda and biscuit at that time. And then another organization same year came, and I remember after donating blood, they always give you the cards, the blood groups and all that. So but later on, so I had my blood group back. That's when I found out I'm actually O positive. Well, so another organization came in Form 2, still second term, and this time round they were giving people soda and bread. So I went for the test. I was like, oh my God, this is my year. First term, there's soda and biscuit. Second term, there's another soda and bread. Why not? Yeah. So I went for the test, and inside the counseling room, I remember the counselor didn't really tell me much. She just asked me, do you have a boyfriend? I said, no, I don't have a boyfriend. Remember, I'm from the village and all that as well. So I'm just seated there and wondering, I mean, what are these things for and all that? And at the same time, I want to be so adventurous and all that. But then I was an illiterate girl in a very nice school at the same time. So I told her I don't have a boyfriend. And then she asked, have you ever been tested before for HIV? I'm like, no, I've never been tested. So she said, double line means you're positive, single line means you're negative. I'm like, okay, then let's carry on. I'm not even thinking of those things that she's telling me. I don't know about double line and all that. She's harvesting my blood at the back of my mind. I'm like, when is this lady going to finish so that I register my name there? The bread and soda is going to be over. So finally, after 5 minutes, the results are back, and she asks me again, do you remember how we interpreted? We say double line is positive, single line negative. I'm like, yeah, I remember. Okay, so then let's carry on. Here are your results. And when I was checking the test kits, it read double line. So that means that I was HIV positive. I remember that was in 2008. In 2008 is when we would see billboards of Ukimwi Unaua and all that. You know, it was such a huge deal, you know. So I'm seated here, I'm like, oh my God, I finally have this Ukimwi, you know. It was such I don't know, I was so shocked. So, of course, I didn't believe that I was positive because, to be so honest, I had never been sexually active. All I had thought of my whole life was food, partly education, and like I said, I was living a good life, like someone who was not even an orphan, a total orphan, you know. So I get out. The counselor told me to now go. She didn't advise me on anything at all. She just told me, okay, now these are your results, now you can leave, that's it. So then I went, and I still, the silly head inside me still registered for the soda and bread still, yes. I had to actually take the soda and bread because that was the sole purpose of coming for the test. And I knew, oh my God, this is happening. But I thought to myself, no, these results, maybe they're not true, you know, maybe they're not true. I mean, maybe she confused, you know, but then I saw everything. There's nothing like confusion. It was me, and it was my blood sample and all that. So I went and told my best friend, because I figured for me to still go and seek permission to the teacher that we always call, I call my sister using their phone. You know, it's such a huge process. So I said, why not just tell my best friend who is right here with me in school? So I told her that I'm HIV positive, and she's like, no, you're lying. So I used to joke a lot, so she thought I'm lying, you know. And during those days, they would do some paper. They had some paper, some very, very small paper, and then they write your number, the number that you are, and then the status. Now mine read positive, and then the number. So I gave her the evidence, and she's like, wow, Phenny, it's true, you're positive, yeah. So, and she told me, you know what, I have aunts, I have people who are positive, and they're sailing through, you know. So don't worry, we are going to journey with you all through. Don't even worry about it. So I'm like, I'm all relaxed. I'm not even thinking about ARVs and all that. At the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm still dreaming. Maybe I'm not positive, you know. I'll go and confirm during the holidays and all. So I go, and after 4 days, I overhear some group of girls whisper that ndio maana yeye ni mnono, she takes those drugs and all that. I'm like, okay, what is happening? I actually didn't even get to the counter because they were clearly talking about me. And those days I was so hippie and all because of everything. The gideri, you name it. I used to just eat bread, you know. So I went back to the dormitory and asked my best friend, like, did you by any chance mention to anyone about our little secret? And she's like, give me my blankets. I want all the plates that I've been giving you. I need the spoons. I want the forks. I want the uniform. I was this careless girl as well in high school. By Form 1, second week, I didn't have anything, I think. Yeah. So I would be given everything. My best friend was there, actually. She was a good backup plan. So no one realized that I had lost everything. Yeah. So I'm there, and then I'm like, okay, so what is the way forward? She's like, don't even talk to me, you'll infect me with HIV. Well, so I'm surprised, and then at the back of my mind I'm like, I remember there are some counseling teachers in Asumbi Girls who used to say that you can talk to them, you know, about everything. And I said, why not? I mean, I want to talk to these people. And I went to the counseling teachers, and I actually talked to them. And they're like, oh, Phenny, that's so normal. Don't even worry about that. But what you're going to do is you're going to call back at home. You're going to call your sister and then inform her that you need to talk to her. So they didn't break the news on phone to my sister. She was just asked to come to school. So my sister came, and then now she started explaining to me, you know what, Phenny, you are, of course, now she was told. We sat down, me, my two counseling teachers, and my sister, and I was told that I got HIV right from birth, but then they knew all along I'm positive. No one really had the courage to tell me that I was positive, yeah. So I was not on any medication. And now everything started making sense. Me getting sick on and off, you know. And sadly enough, in a family of 6, I'm the only one who is sick. Yeah, so so at that time, you know, of course, I feel like I was betrayed and all that. So I keep on digging, and they're like, you know what? At some point during the time just before you got conceived, mom and dad separated for some time. During when the 5th born was just being raised, and then now they reunited 2 years later, because we are 2 years apart with our 5th born. And then now they got you. I think now during the separation, someone got infected. Someone was moving on and all that, yeah. During the holidays, I went and tested again, and yeah, it was true. I was positive, so I started taking my medication from then, yeah. But then one thing that changed is the fact that I didn't move on from that time. So what I did is that I said, if I'm going to take this medication, then I'm not going to study. Because I cannot deal with acceptance, denial, and education. This is so much.
One Gorge House Trust says being diagnosed with HIV affects everybody differently, and there is no right and wrong way to react. For Phenny, she became immensely withdrawn at school.
I resolved that staying in school for the rest of the years that remained, and I did exactly that. But then I was a very stubborn girl. Way forward from Form 2 third term on to till Form 4, when I cleared, I was everything. I had to strive so much to be in the list of the noisemakers. You know, I was so stubborn. The only thing that I would not go overboard in doing was getting suspended or expelled, but I did everything bad. I would make noise in school, in class. I would miss those cuts during dawns and all that. I would not extend, I would not study and all that. So all these nasty behaviors, of course, they had their results, and I had a C-. So now I have my C-, and I'm still positive. You know, I somehow thought that if I behave that way, HIV will go away, and you know, but then I was still positive even after high school. So I needed to just change how I'm going to live my life way forward. I said I'm not going to infect anyone with HIV. I had thought about, actually, because it was a routine. It was a routine that people infect people, and then they write a list, you know, and then those days we were on Facebook. Now Facebook was just, you know, we were just discovering Facebook those days, and all those groups, and those were the days that the whole thing blew out. Like we have a list of, I don't know, in a specific university and all that. So I said I'm not going to do that. What made me accept is that I thought I now exaggerated the situation, because I took about 3 years, And not really 3 years, because even after high school, I had not accepted yet. There's something about being HIV positive. When you find out, you automatically lack your self-esteem. You don't have it, and your self-confidence. You don't have it. Today, if I had not disclosed my HIV status, but I knew deep down I'm HIV positive and I'm seated with you here, I'd not be confident. It rips you off something, especially if you do not accept. And that was my struggle for 5 years. I accepted that I'm HIV positive and I need to move on with my life when I was 20 years old. Yeah. So, men started showing their interest, of course, in me. And I kept on telling them I'm HIV positive. And of course, they kept on running away. No one would want to be with you when you're HIV positive. So it was the same old story. And until I found this guy, and I told him the same thing, I'm HIV positive, and he said no problem, I don't have any issue. So that time, with my C minor, I went and did, I started from the bottom with certificate in counseling psychology, then I went and did a diploma, and then after that, I did a HIV testing and counseling. So I wanted to understand really, really how HIV works, and even in my body, because I had accepted that it's going to be here forever. So then, during this time, I was already confident. I would tell someone I'm HIV positive, but I can't infect you because, I have all the reasons.
One would wonder how Phenny ended up with 2 very beautiful HIV negative daughters.
I finally reached a stage called undetectable. Undetectable in 5 years, after 5 years. Undetectable means that the amount of my virus is so low that I cannot infect someone. I cannot pass it to someone. Yeah. So then, of course, I thought it was, no, that's a rocket science. Those are just theories, People are just trying to market themselves with that. But then I kept on telling this person who had accepted me anyway, he was HIV negative. We confirmed. And after every 3 months, we used to confirm. So until at some point we said we are not using protection, and we all agreed. And we were cancelled in my facility not to use protection when we want to conceive, that is. But then, of course, there are things that you actually don't even pay attention to. So not only during the conception, we had not been using protection all through, for a very long time after we had that confidence that I'm undetectable. And then so far, we would go for the test after every 3 months and he would be okay. Yeah. So finally we conceived our firstborn and gave birth, and it was normal delivery. And during that time I had I was given some medication. It's just a type of ARVs syrup. I was advised to give the baby for the first 6 weeks, and then after that I continue giving them syrup up to 2 years. And then in between the baby, I would be taking the baby for the clinics at 6 weeks, I think 3 months, 9 months, 1 year, 18 months, and finally 2 years. And my baby was HIV negative all through. So, and then during that time, at 4 months, when my child was 4 months, we were like, oh God, we are now commandos in this. We can actually conceive another one. We were not so serious about it, but then we said, okay, what's the worst that can happen? You are still negative. The baby is so far negative, And boom, I was pregnant again at 4 months. So I gave birth to another child. So, but then now my babies are like twins now, because I had just conceived the second born when the first born was only 4 months old. But then during 9 months pregnant with this second one, I think this guy just got tired of me. I think he just fell out of love or something like that, and of course started cheating. And I said, if you cheat, then we cannot be together, because I've been trying so hard to take my medication to keep myself undetectable, And if you keep cheating, then it means that you'll get HIV from someone who is not taking care of themselves, and you'll blame it on me. So then we separated. It was a very bitter breakup, because he was all I got. Oh well, he was not my first love as such, but then he was the only one person who accepted me with my status. He had a very, very special place in our lives, all of us. Yeah.
In May 2017, Phenny decided to come out and declare her HIV status to the society. Without her knowledge, she became an HIV/AIDS activist. Little did she know this came with its price.
Around 2017 May, I said to myself, because I kept on telling people still I'm HIV positive, those would hit on me even after my marriage, and I had the same reactions. Okay, there are people who are now starting to be more conversant with the fact that people who are positive can also be loved and all that, but then it was not that much. It was kombali sana ya. So I had to come out publicly, and I remember coming out on Facebook, and yeah, I just said, you know what, I lose nothing. I have these beautiful babies, they're HIV negative. I've kept myself very well. I know very well I've not infected anyone out there, that when I'm coming out on Facebook they would be at me and all that. Yeah, so I just came out, and when coming out I got very overwhelming feedback, mostly positive. Of course there has to be negative feedback, yeah, and people were opening up to me about their status, about their struggles and all that. I had to refer them to where I always take my medication, because I've been there for the last 11 years since I started. Yeah, they've been so good and all. So since then, now I discovered, oh my god, okay, what I'm getting into is activism. I started defining it, and it was so overwhelming with time, and it's not been an easy ride, but then it's been worth it. I have gone through the worst cyberbullying ever. I think from where I'm seated now, I think someone is looking at me and thinking, what else can we pull on this girl that she can actually get mad at? Because they've done everything, like every single thing. So I'm seated here, and I'm such a happy soul.
HIV is only a virus, but stigma is the deadly disease. Phenny has not been so lucky to escape bullying, especially with social media. She narrates how at some point she was allegedly killed on social media.
There's this time that I just woke up on Saturday, and then we had a nice wedding. It was a wedding day because it was on Saturday. And then I'm called outside by my sister that, have you seen what is going on Facebook? I'm like, okay, what is going on Facebook? That someone has actually created, someone that we know that friend of ours, we know her, we had her sister right there, seated right beside us, So like someone had said that you are dead. I'm like, how? I am here. Then I had to log in on Facebook and then, confirm that I'm not dead. But then what came after that shocked me. Because there was the same person who updated that went ahead and said that I'm the one who told them to update it. Yeah. And then, people want to always prey on I always say that on Facebook, lies are juicy. Very, very juicy, yeah. People actually bought that. And there was another cyberbullying. You can even die all you want and all that. Just kill yourself and all. I read all sorts of comments, and I sat down and said to myself, this is my timeline, and I can actually create a very safe space and a private one and a peaceful one for myself, And that is the time that I knew how to actually just control what I want to read and what I actually started blocking people and friending people, doing the privacy settings. I didn't care if you get inspirations from my post and all that. I was protecting myself, and they started abusing my babies. There was so much happening. So that was so shocking. But then I always say, if I manage to sail through that, then I think there's nothing that I can't sail through. If you're out there and you just found out about your HIV status, oh God, it's not a big deal. And I'll tell you why. Not because I'm this confident, brave girl, courageous to come out and all that, no. Because we have drugs. The ARVs are free. And apart from that, they just view it in this way, that you have headache, but you're going to take your drugs forever. And the services that are being offered are so much of quality that the only thing that you need to do is take your drugs and religiously eat well. Healthy living is so important, and it's so cheap. I do things like omena, sweet potatoes, and uji, things that are just so simple. Spinach is a very nice immune booster. So when you eat well and you take your drugs religiously, God, forget that you're HIV positive. So in short, if you're out there, you're HIV positive, it's not a big deal. We have other bigger issues like cancer to deal with, and we should not be selfish at this point. I actually even say that I think by 2020, if the way I just see the trend, I'd actually quit activism, because I feel like it is something that we've now created a stigma-free society, something that I've been advocating for. Why do I need to still be here? We can move on to other things, yeah.
Through it all, Phenny's main agenda is to have a positive mind and ensure an HIV/AIDS stigma-free society.
Being undetectable those days was like what? Healing cancer stage 4. It was that impossible, but then you just need to, you were told a very simple routine. You're given a very simple routine. Eat well, diet well, the normal things, exercise, blah blah blah. But then it was so hard because the side effects were more than how effective the ARVs were at that time. But then now people become undetectable even within 3 months. Within 3 months, there's a drug called DTG. The people who are qualified for that drug become undetectable within even that or even lesser period. But then it depends with yourself. If you want to become undetectable, do not have multiple partners. Use protection, because there's so many infections that your body is prone to, and they are going to lower your immune system. Your immune system should be so strong for you to be undetectable. Another thing is that take your ARVs religiously. By exactly 9 a.m. I take my drugs. By exactly 9 p.m. I take them. Because they will help suppress the virus over and over and over again. So if it's your time to take your medicine, take them. Do not mix medicine with alcohol. I take wine, but then I take wine, say, once in 2 months, I think, and it's a glass or two. And just balance on how you really want to live your social life. Not that I'm a very sociable person. You'd think I'm not even HIV positive by there at some point when I dance and party and do all that. But then just be cautious. Don't be carried away with the other things that people do that would really affect your immune system. So it's all about protecting your immune system. Yeah.